All right, welcome. So my name is Cody Boyer. This is
I'm Ben Money.
Brian Money.
and
Nick Price.
we are introducing Box, where we started, where we are, and where we're going. Since 2005, Box has been the first of its kind in the industry standard for housing data for personal and for business use. Today, our mission, Box is the industry standard for secure online hosting services customized for personal use and your business. We house and protect your firm's data. Through our network of partners, we have streamlined our service to work in almost any app, web page, mobile platform, or operating system. And with Box, our focus on cross-platform integrations makes transferring any file really easy to use. Some of our key partners are Microsoft and Cisco, and we just recently, on November 14th, just partnered up with two startup companies, biomedical companies, in order to start housing data regarding technology and medical imaging.
Alright, so first we're going to talk about our CEO. His name is Aaron Levine. This quote was, I think, back in 2005. As we bring Box into more organizations, our mission remains the same, to make sharing, accessing, and managing content ridiculously easy. I think it was actually in 2010, sorry. We started in 2005. And then Forbes later, in 2013, named him the 30 under 30, one of the leaders. So his main goal right now as CEO, and just in the tech industry in general, is to make it so everyone has access to cloud sharing. So it's at everyone's fingertips. This is just one of the ways he's doing that. Yeah. All right. So first we're going to talk about a little bit of the revenue streams.
Well, the ease of use, really.
Ease of use. Okay. All right. So one of the main things that has always been a focus from the beginning was really ease of use. People aren't going to want to share their documents with some random company if it's not easy to do it. The second you want to share something or make it easier to access, if it's not easy, why bother? So we started off with businesses, personal as well. Right now, alright, so for the startup phase, Brian.
Yeah, so for the startup phase, we started out as a freemium app where it was basically for personal use and business use. Most of our income came straight from businesses, but we did have a personal use that got a little bit of our name out there. We were a cloud storage and again for personal and business use, and we really pride ourselves on excellent customer service. That's what sets us apart from some of these other cloud services. We are able to do extra services for you and have a lot of extra tools and integrate your apps in ways that other cloud services don't provide. And most of our revenue at this point was from just a few businesses.
And I'm going to go in a little bit more of a detail. This is our business model canvas at startup back in 2005. And if I can jump on this side of you guys real quick. So some of our key activities, our value proposition at the time was to house personal files, media, and things like that for personal use. We had excellent customer service, and we really valued that. Our relationships, we're very quick to respond. In fact, Ben has an anecdote, if you'd like to share with us today, regarding how quick the response he's gotten.
So actually earlier this morning, it was last night, I went online to their site and found a report by Gartner, which is like a leading technology analyst, and so they're analyzing all the companies in cloud storage. And to get the report, I had to submit my email address to the website. And this morning, before this class at like 11 o'clock, I got a call from Box asking if there was any questions they could answer about the report, about them, anything I needed. And I was getting a personal number of someone at the office, like the call got dropped twice, they called me back. I called the number back and got right to the person, so it was like, she was asking if I was interested in a partnership with them. Just what I wanted to do that had to do with Box, it didn't matter, and no matter what it was, she said she's gonna email me if I have any other questions that come up later on, so it's like,
So that's
even
sort of,
now, in 2014, they're still leading in that.
so that sort of also enlightens a little bit about our channels and how we reach people through phone, via text, email, in person. Some of our channels originally back at startup was, of course, the internet, mobile platforms like Android, BlackBerry, iOS, Windows Phone devices, things like that. But our main customer segment at the time was personal users for personal data files. We were looking for those college and high school students, middle-aged individuals that want to house their files somewhere. And we were just then, like Brian was saying earlier, breaking ground on small businesses and acquiring customers through that. One of the key points that I wanted to bring up here is our revenue streams. Is when we started, and I'll go into that in a minute. It was free. We are a freemium. That is one of our type of value propositions. We're free to users, and also our revenue streams come from our subscriptions for small businesses or for startup groups of 10 people or more for $5 a month or $15 a month. But more specifically, our customer acquisition, which I'll go into in the next slide. We can get the next one. So, real quick, this is part of a revenue stream back in 2005. It wasn't really from our free service users. It's probably very similar to Dropbox. A lot of your revenue didn't most likely come from your free users. Ours came from enterprise and small businesses. And as you can see, our price breakdown and our scheduling. Once you get to the enterprise, there's unlimited storage and personalized, customized financing.
And that's why you have to get a free quote as well, because it's going to be personalized to exactly what your business needs.
How much did you say it cost Brian when we look on the far it's on the screen?
Okay, there we go.
We'll start with that.
There we go.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. So this is,
Okay, go for it.
Alright, so right here we've got a quick video, I think it's about a minute. And basically what it is, it's gonna be our value to companies now, and what we're gonna continue to do in the future as well. Here you go.
What are we getting done today? Do you need to collaborate on new ideas? Share thoughts on a marketing strategy. IT admins will need content control and granular permissions. Do you have to revise quantities on that order and sync with the production house instantly? What about getting that contract signed in 2 time zones on the same day? You'll need to assign a task to the creative team. And review the season catalog on your taxi ride home. Do you need to check x-rays and protocols without leaving your patient? Or review a blueprint from the 70th floor of the construction site? What about uploading those large files without the hassle of FTP? Or changing file share settings with a simple push of a button, while keeping everything secure without VPN? On any device? Anywhere? Sure, we can do that. More collaborative, more productive, more powerful. This is how tomorrow works. Box.
Cool, so those are many of the examples of what you can use our service as in your business, your small business, large business, hospital, school, anything you name it. So these are the examples of what we offer. Online collaboration, you guys can read these things. It's just a plethora of options and features that we can partner with you and give you. So here was actually the example of the Gartner company analysis, and so they actually placed Box right here as one of the leaders in the industry. We've got our niche players, visionaries, challengers, which is where we've got Dropbox, you guys trying to come in, and leaders. Box is pretty well placed there. So basically what it is because of where we put ourselves in the market, firm grasp on businesses, companies that can actually pay us in the end. I think that's why we've been analyzed and put in with the leaders.
So currently, right now, we have over 27 million people that subscribe to our service and 240,000 businesses. I think that's just short of, you guys are somewhere around 300,000 businesses or something like that. 300 million,
140 million, 350 million.
350 million customers.
Okay.
So we have about 240 million businesses and many partnerships. Some of the biggest partnerships, like we already mentioned before, Cisco, Microsoft. We really, in that video, really showed you about the cross-platform integration that we're really focusing on in the future. But some of the smaller stuff that we all know of are things like Netflix and so forth. We've even partnered with hospitals like St. Jude. So that's currently where we're at now. And if Brian wants to give us a summary.
Sure. Okay, so our current state worth, we've been valued at $2 billion. What we're really happy with right now still is our strong customer acquisition, our online services, cloud app services. The cloud app services, basically we're making apps as well, and we're offering those apps for our partners to use. Anyone that's using our software, it's for them as well. Our channel partners, we've moved into schools, hospitals, and really large enterprises. We're working with P&G, Nationwide, Pandora for music, Netflix, those types of companies, that are using it constantly all the time, and lots of data as well. And then we're always updating and trying to make our software easier and easier to use.
And to go into a little bit of detail, there's a couple things that I've highlighted on our current business model canvas on where we stand right now. Part of one of our key activities, in addition to build network infrastructure and many other things, is we're still in customer acquisition, and we still are going to maintain that customer acquisition as part of one of our key activities. But we have something called the Referral Partner Program, which I'll go into very soon. And it really establishes a great partnership with the people, and it also creates new channels for us. We also have moved on in our channels. We've created new channels by business-to-business referral programs. So we're incentivizing businesses to basically find other businesses to be part of our network, to be part of our bigger cloud system, so that we can be even more integrative and be across software as a services, other platforms, mobile devices, software companies inside of hardwares, you name it, all over the place. It sounds very similar to where Dropbox is going also. And our revenue streams have shifted since our startup. It shifted mainly into enterprise subscriptions, so less of the small business, and a lot less of the catering to the personal user, because I think we've all known that throughout the use of this course, we've identified our buyers are separate than our users. So our revenue streams are mainly coming from enterprise subscriptions. So what I wanted to show, one of our key activities is the integration with other apps. That's one of the other things we wanted to do. It was part of the video that we showed. And I think that somebody else wanted to summarize this section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Box is paired up with Microsoft Office 360 and a couple of other apps where you are able to open documents and edit them in a browser, or right in the browser, so native to whatever application you're already using. Some of the potential apps that we're trying to suggest are potentially Adobe Suite, and we already are used by Canvas University Solution, and we already paired up with Cisco as well for
Project Squared. Project Squared.
Project
Squared is going to be the collaboration effort that they were talking about in the video, where you can do multi-user phone calls right through the Cisco and Box app, You can share documents while you're doing video calls. It's basically a cross-platform collaborative user interface.
And it's basically all just to extend the flexibility of what Box does and what your company offers through their software applications. You're able to get to a greater audience or be used more easily and over different platforms.
Okay, so this again is going along with our customer acquisition strategies. Again, we're referring partner programs. So basically, referring customers, you're getting a commission. Basically, it's going to be something like you don't have to pay quite as much for your services, credits to your account, things like that. And it's free, it's easy, you know. If you're enjoying the software, the programs, everything that we're offering you, it's going to be a no-brainer to suggest it to other companies that you're working with, because then everyone's working more together. It's more seamless communication just between companies. Makes your lives easier, helps us out, and spreads.
This has also been part of Box's method of lowering the bottom line at the end of the year by decreasing the amount they actually have to spend on customer acquisition. Because what's happening here is, you know, your business is evaluating and qualifying the leads. You send them to us, the lead. We go ahead and close the deal with them, and then you'll end up getting commission for setting up that partnership and that referral. So it takes a lot of operation costs off of us by doing that. It sounds like a lot of word of mouth, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so that.
And this takes us to our future growth opportunity suggestions. We're so powerful with our partners that we think we should strengthen those relationships and look for more partnerships. And by doing so, we're going to extend our services and have better flexibility and cross-platform. We think that research and design for new tools in data creation and editing and security are going to be very important for us, because we're going to have assets with these softwares that we can continue to receive revenues for a long period of time. We are using the referral program to boost our new clientele, because a lot of our clients through that become assets, and we can have greater revenues.
Yeah, so I was going to talk just a little bit about this. So we're talking about our clients and who we have now, our businesses, those 240,000 businesses that are using Box. Just because it's 240,000 businesses, that doesn't mean it's just 240,000 people. You know, each of those businesses have sometimes even thousands of workers using them. So everyone's going to be using this. And what's great is because we're so ingrained in these businesses, we're able to turn that into revenue. We're really helping them and giving them a great service, and so they're more than happy to compensate us. And just in last year alone, we were able to make $127 million in revenue, something that we haven't often been able to see in many other cloud industries. So that's something that we're really happy about, and what's great is those are built off of subscriptions, so that's going to be something that's going to continue to come to us. Yeah.
And then lastly, this is our final business model canvas, and I'll provide all these to you very soon for where we want to go. And part of the key things I wanted to point out here is our future customer segments that we wanted to go to. Like they had mentioned before, where we wanted to go. We really want to start to provide to new segments. We're not quite that $10 billion valuation, and an exit strategy might not be the best case for us at this moment. However, there are some gaps to be filled in certain industries, and we have already made partnerships with hospitals like St. Jude's and things like that. One of the biggest gaps right now inside of another industry, in the medical industry, is electronic medical records and maintaining them through security because of HIPAA. If Box were to go ahead and partner with hospitals and networks of hospitals, let's say Florida Hospital or something like that, across multiple satellite campuses, they would be able to essentially house all of their data and give them a secure option for that. That is a potential segment that we would like to future grow into. It could be locally, statewide, and then eventually even considered nationally. Also, we just literally on November 14th, like I mentioned earlier, so we already are moving in this direction. And Cisco's partnership with the Squared is already happening. So not only are we just hosting data, but now we're going in the direction of real-time, media streaming of real-time collaboration on work. Much like you would on Google Drive, be able to collaborate on something, you would be able to with Box in the future. And we have teamed up with biomedical imaging companies, so now we're starting to house imaging for hospitals and medicine. So it is a totally new segment that we predict would be good for us to go into. And I think that is the most important part of this. The only other thing that I had highlighted here in the customer relationship is our service partnership program is going to further embellish as we expand our network.
So for Box, the one thing that you might not see that we didn't include in our future business model canvas was another round of funding. Right now, Box, we just don't need that right now. We had a recent IPO in the last year, and that brought over, I believe, $250 million, something close to that. In the last year, we also, we had the revenue of over $120 million. We also had a loss, but that was all a part of our investing in ourselves. We still have over $100 million in capital laying around, just cash in hand, that we're ready to invest in our next process. And that's why we didn't see the need to continue funding. When we went to the IPO, we could have gone further, but we didn't. We wanted to take our time and be sure of what we're doing.
And that $2 billion valuation comes down to $73.42 a user.
Now, I would like to pass these out, and if there's any specific thing that you guys needed clarification on, where we were, where we are, and where we're going to, we would most definitely be able to answer that for you. Yeah. There's a couple of these.
Eloy?
I'm wondering, because I do a lot of stuff with tech companies. How, did they mention anything about how you guys are going to do active, real-time file sharing, Google Drive, editing and stuff, without a VPN or FTP? Do they have their own secure network?
Yeah,
Or
they
how
have
does it run?
Yeah.
Sure, what it's.
They have their own data centers that they actually use for Box.
Okay.
So I'm assuming they run a VPN through that data center. I haven't looked anything into it. I know through the data centers that my dad managed for McDill and for Medicaid and whatever the other one was, they had VPNs and all types of different security layers that went from the data center. So when you were doing collaborative stuff through HP, which they do their own in-house collaboration, it was all secured. So I would assume that Box would try to do the same thing through their data center.
Are you asking if it's secure?
Kind of, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, they
VPN,
have the same bank security, the SSL certification.
okay.
It's really standard, almost any website can just apply for it, it's $60, and then you're SSL certified, and it's encrypted. It's the same standard as everybody else.
But I guess to answer your question more specifically,
Yeah.
at one point during startup back in 2005, they made a transition where they did what we've learned in this class as backward vertical integration and has housed their own data centers rather than third party. And it has helped now that they've also partnered with two of the main providers for that, which is Cisco for the hardware, for data network engineering and engineering hardware, and then also Intel for processing.
early in the presentation, you said that box is a standard. What makes you say that?
It was actually originally the first, and it is the industry standard. It was stated by, I think, Gartner. There was a specific statement. It's if you go straight to the Box website, it's one of the first 4 slides that comes up when it's talking about industry. I think
InfoWorld,
Gartner makes the statement.
InfoWorld for 2014 released a list of the top file sharing companies, and Box was on their top, to answer that.
And by industry, we mean just for the commercial clients.
Yeah. Because that's our main goal right now, it's commercial.
Right, and not necessarily the personal use.
Your original focus was the commercial though, right?
Mm.
And so that's why you were so heavily focused with customer acquisition? So, but since you're not focusing on funding anymore, you're set with the amount of revenue that you're bringing in, why are you still focusing on customer acquisition opposed to making the customers that you have happier with what? If you're already making money after that?
So, actually, it's kind of steamroll, both of them are kind of coming together. So because of our referral partnership program, it's happening, so, and this is very much like a blue collar work industries where you have word of mouth, and you're a lawn maintenance company and you do word of mouth. Soon enough, you get to the point where you're not going around and making advertisements, much like Dropbox did, they don't do commercials anymore. So a lot of that doesn't really even need to happen anymore because of the word of mouth. In addition to that, we've incentivized those loyal partners and businesses that we already have to go ahead and do that with other new businesses and give them a deduction and give them more services and provide
So
them.
that's the some customer acquisition part, is
Mhm.
just the not financially backed, but by the promotions for the companies that you already have.
Right, that's the future, that's where we're going. Because you want to
Oh,
stay away
okay.
from that call center, typical startup type of customer acquisition of, every, small business that,
Why would I
That's it.
tell you when someone else can?
right, about
That's already used it.
about the services that they've already used and how it's worked out for them in their personal customized situation.
Mhm.
Sealy, they're not happy with the revenue, but what they've been doing the last 9 years is when the revenue comes in, they dump everything back in the Box.
Yeah.
So that's why they haven't made a profit, is because they've been dumping everything back in
Yeah.
to push out this new
It's not like
stuff.
they're happy with where they are, it's just that it's at a comfortable level of growth, something they can keep up with.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And they have a lot of opportunity because they've yet to go IPO.
That we did.
Did they?
They released the IPO.
Did they do it
but
just recently?
No one, they released it and then they pushed it back to 2015.
That's what I'm saying, okay, so it's not open yet.
Yeah.
For sure, they delayed the train.
So the anticipation is there.
Yeah.
I'll be buying, that's for sure.
Okay, just a few quick questions that I
Yeah.
have. What do you do different for your corporate clients than Dropbox does?
It's the native app, like, instead of converting a file, you can just open it right up. So like the Word document will open straight within, like let's say you're on Canvas and you post something, it will just have the same formatting as the Word doc. It'll
It's
have
not
the
like
same
it doesn't have
toolbar,
to
it's
start
not-
up Word on your computer and then pull it up. Word's gonna pop up on the browser displaying the document.
There
All
will be
right,
browser
now,
based.
and was that a part of your saying that eventually you can, or does that already exist, you can edit the document
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there?
already.
It already exists?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so just going like forward with that type of thing where you host even more applications and more types of software is the kind of partners we're looking for.
Okay. Right, yeah, I don't know how hard it would be to pull up the Gartner 2x2 matrix, and who else are the leaders in that box?
I mean, I believe it, it's a 33-page report.
Right,
So we
but
got-
I mean,
so-
who else is included in the quadrant?
So,
that,
okay, so but now it's in
box.
different quadrants here though. We got niche players, visionaries, and leaders.
Uh-huh.
The only 4 in
Right.
leaders is EMC, Box, Citrix, and I don't know what this one is down here.
Excellion.
Citrix
So
is the leader.
Dropbox is a challenger to Box,
Right.
according to the study.
Right.
And in that box is also Google, IBM, and Microsoft.
So as a part of
That's
our-
what I'm asking, who else is in
They are
there?
comparing other, well, challenging, you
Yeah.
can't call them leading.
Okay,
Right, so as part of our external analysis, I think this is a really good depiction
Yeah.
of the existing firms that are challenging us with the same work. There is a very similar overlap of a pie that we're going towards.
okay, and that was my question. Which ones that you see as those challengers do you see as the greatest competition?
All of them.
Dropbox and Google, and I guess Amazon, but that's lower.
I think we provide more like a unique service though, that they couldn't really do it.
Well, Box is also trying to get like Citrix, and Citrix does a lot of collaboration work and video conferencing. So,
So their why was the ability to execute,
Uh-huh.
and so that's actually getting things done and actually doing things. And then the bottom was, the X was completeness of vision. So actually,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Is that
And we can include that in our external analysis if you want us to.
No, I mean, if you did, you did. If you didn't, you didn't. And I'm just curious. What's the price for a corporation? I think you said it's individualized, each,
Yeah, every corporation
Yeah,
is
quote.
getting quoted.
yeah, they quote.
Yeah, and I think that's much like Dropbox does something similar.
Well, do they have a standard, like we do it, like per amount of people per?
So so there's different tiers, right? So free for any one user, $5 a month for 10 users of 100 gigabytes, $15 a month for okay.
Sorry.
It gets to the point where it gets to unlimited storage, but then it's not even mentioned because every institution's different. But I think the highest you can go with knowing and predicting is $15 per month for.
Per user.
per user, that was
Or
my
no,
question.
minimum is 3 users.
Yeah.
Unlimited storage, 5 gigabytes, and that's for a small business. And I guess the best way I can liken to it, and someone else can correct me if I'm wrong with this, but is a small business is going to be a little bit more localized. There's not going to be a lot of satellite. There's not going to be a lot of like so enterprise would be like St. Jude's, cross the state, cross multiple hospitals. That would be like an enterprise situation. Small business would be something that's localized, something that's in-house.
You own a couple of Ace Hardware stores, something
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm. Okay, all right.
So,
Okay. No, go ahead.
the chart we saw, where Citrix was the largest competitor or your main competition here. Yes.
Yeah.
That right there. This is for providing companies with file sharing, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I can look.
Okay.
Not necessarily users, like for
Yeah,
people.
So I was confused where, I would see where Box is number one in providing file sharing for businesses, because they were first for businesses. We
Mhm.
started businesses in like 2013 or 2012.
versus Dropbox being
For
good for
consumers.
personal, for consumers.
Yeah, so
So,
that's
yeah.
the difference was for that. So we're top consumer, you guys are top business.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess the question to ask is, and I don't know if this is rhetorical, is what is eventually more lucrative to have as a market segment?
Well, I think you guys we're both gunning for each other's spot, so.
I think eventually they're gonna merge.
Right.
Yeah,
It would make
yeah.
the most sense.
Once you hit to a certain point.
Because
Right.
we already have the back.
What you guys have proposed, if there was like some sort of merge and or a bigger company decide to go, hey, let's put you in an arena and we'll buy both of you guys, that might be one of the best
That's exactly
options.
Yeah, that's what Microsoft is doing,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're testing us.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see
wins
who's,
is-
like, what's worth more.
Okay. Well, that kind of answered my last question, which was, what do you see as future roadblocks? And
They're either gotta love each other or hate each other.
yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Or change and make a new pie.
Okay.
Would Box have delayed their IPO because of their partnership with Microsoft, knowing that Dropbox has the funding to be able to purchase all your stock?
Well, they don't, because that's a $10 billion valuation.
Yeah, that's not cash in
That's
hand.
not cash, that's not
We
capital.
have 250 million in hand.
Yeah, but if the company's
Plus
valued
profits.
at $2
It's
billion,
valued at $2 billion.
you're buying at a valuation, but your evaluation.
Yeah, but if you're
Doesn't
selling
equate
stock,
to
I
the
can buy
price.
part of your company.
You can buy
You
part,
percentage
but our
would be like
stock,
20%.
our stock that we're selling isn't 100% of our value of our company.
But we
Yeah.
could have a controlling interest, like, I'm saying, would you have delayed that because someone could buy part of your company and say, well, we're not, I don't want to be part of the Microsoft deal anymore, and then you guys are out, and then there goes your value.
No, that's interesting. I haven't even thought about that. That's something.
I don't think that it would have been enough of a controlling stake to stop that deal.
You need 15% to vote.
Yeah, but the other votes would have outdone it either way. The whole point, the whole goal of the whole company is to make it, is to grow and to make it so everyone has cloud sharing.
And they could have,
It's literally ingrained into everyone who works there,
I think they could
including the
have,
CEO.
they
so-
could have done that too with the IPO because maybe they're not ready to sell yet. Maybe they thought they were, and then when they got the partnership from
Right.
Microsoft and
Cisco,
from
we
Cisco.
can make
and-
way more money if we just hold out and then people know about this too.
And it's not just Intel that's their partner, it's Intel Capital. So they have the
Yeah.
capital backing from Intel along with the expertise from Intel. So they might have, in my mind, I would say they delayed it because there's so much more stuff they still can do before they go public.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the question.
Yeah.
So what I see in the current state is that both companies are fighting for partnerships, and they're getting really big partnerships. And at some point in time, something I think like what Eloy or Celia had said is, and maybe we're all predicting, is that someone's going to buy them both out, or some sort of merging is going to happen, or someone decides to exit.
Well, the owner should exit, the
Well,
company
that's
stays.
what I'm saying. Someone would decide to exit and sell out. I guess that is two for.
I thought their partnership with Canvas is interesting. This is kind of a thinking question. Why
Yeah.
would they do that?
Well, think about it. Okay.
Gets us while we're young.
Huh?
Gets us while we're young. It's
That's
like
true.
it's like subliminal messaging. It's like when you see that little box at the bottom when you're opening a document with Canvas, it's like, what is that? Oh, and then once you actually look at a cloud and you see that box, you're like, oh, I already use this. Why wouldn't I just keep using that?
Yeah, okay. I mean, that was what I would think too. yeah.
Well, okay, so college students use files all the time. They transfer them all over the place. I know USF currently has, a partnership with Google Drive, and I know we use Google Drive like crazy here. So if you are catering to try, if one of your, things is to try to get personal users, that is just one little extra step of kind of doing that integrating Box in every little thing that you do. And soon enough, it's part of your iOS, and it's also a part of your software when you download it with Microsoft. You don't even have to additionally download Box. It's integrated within the software. If you notice, between all of those, soon enough, it's kind of a part of your life, subliminally, without you even deciding that you wanted Box in the first place.
All right, any other questions? All right, good deal. You can clap for your competition. Why don't we take a real short break?